Hello, everybody. I'm Ryan from Fireside Yankees, and so we've got a lot to talk about relative to, I guess, yesterday's show or really recent shows. Seeing just how inactive the pitching market has been, and understandably so. I don't know if you guys saw that Jim Duquette trade proposal, where he was like, "All right, the Yankees would have to offer Jason Dominguez, Chase Hampton, Will Warren." Brock Selvage for Dylan Cease. And I've seen a lot of Yankee fans suggest that that's not a fair deal. Um, that's what the White Sox are going to be asking for. That's what the Yankees are going to have to pay if they want to get Dylan Cease right now. And I don't think people are ready to hear that. So, we've got a lot to talk about. There's a lot to discuss. There's a lot to kind of cover in that regard. And yeah, so with that being said, let's get into the comment section a little bit here. Aiden's been here for a while. Aiden, hope you're doing well, my man. Yeah, the Yankees, according to John Heyman, are in on Snell. I'm always going to be a little skeptical about that because he is a Boris client, and there is a history of John Heyman kind of, I guess, inflating the market for Boris clients and kind of serving not as a mouthpiece. It's a little rude, but kind of as a guy who he does kind of leak some stuff for Boris clients just to kind of boost their the interest publicly in their market. So, yeah, so there's that. Moving on a little bit, let's see what else we've got. Oh my, your birthday's on my LD channel. Appreciate you stopping by. Number one, number two, happy birthday, man. Turning 20 apparently. So happy 20th birthday, man. It's a big day. So appreciate you, man. And yeah, hopefully we give you a good show. Let's see. Let's see a couple ideas that are floating around the chat. Trevor says, hi, what's up, Trevor? Hope you're having a good night. Is Luzardo an actual possibility for the Yankees? Angelo, or I don't know if it's Angelo or Angelo, but I'm assuming it's Angelo. The Yankees are going to probably go out and explore the entire market for pitching. So I'm not going to sit here and say they're out on Jesus Luzardo, but I don't think the Yankees would have the best offer. I think the Baltimore Orioles have a much more intriguing offer because they have more position player prospects and more MLB ready position players, which I think the Marlins are looking for. Like they could say, hey, here's Jordan Westberg, or hey, here's, Colton Cowser. And the Yankees really can't offer that. The Yankees would have to offer, a lesser package of MLB ready players or a lesser package of MLB caliber talent. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. I don't think they're the favorites for Luzardo by any means. And I think it would have to be a substantial package. This is a pretty good starter. I don't love the fit of Luzardo in New York, not because he's not a good pitcher, but because of injuries. Like that's always a concern for me, especially in a rotation that has Carlos Rodon, has this Cortez. Clark Schmidt does have a Tommy John surgery in his past, so not sure if the fit is great, but it would certainly take like you've got to offer like a Spencer Jones type player to get a deal started, honestly. Not So Family Fun Vision says, hey, I hope you're having a good night, my man. Chase Hampton says, what's up? Drew told me about this great channel. This is funny. This is hilarious. I love that. Clarissa, this is a good friend of mine. Clarissa, hope you're having a good night. She's a Dodgers fan, so like, yeah, like congrats on Yamamoto. I guess like I'm a little salty about that still, but congrats on Yamamoto. But I appreciate you stopping by. What exactly would a Jesus Luzardo trade look like? I'd assume Peraza, since the Marlins need an infielder. Peraza's played second base, third base, and shortstop, and he's financially cheap for Miami. He's not gonna headline a deal. He's probably like a third piece or a fourth piece in the deal. I'm just not that confident in Oswald Peraza having the market value that, he might have once thought he had, or we would hope he has. I don't think he's valued as a top 100 prospect. I think he's valued more as a solid player. I actually think that a team that fits really well for an Oswald Peraza trade is the San Francisco Giants. I have an article about that I'm going to put out tomorrow. So, or it should come out tomorrow. Depends on if I have a couple things I'd like to tweak, or if, obviously things change. You don't know if somebody gets traded or not. But I would imagine that nothing, I would have to change anything. But with that being said, yeah, I don't view Oswald Peraza as a viable headliner for a Jesus Luzardo deal. Maybe for an Edward Cabrera deal, but not a Jesus Luzardo deal. Dennis says, hi, Ryan. Hope you're having a good night, Dennis. Pereira, Peraza, Warren, Serna. It's going to take more than that. I think that, it's going to take more than that. Like it is. It's going to take a lot more than that in order for the New York Yankees to land Jesus Luzardo. And that's unfortunate. Like it is kind of where the market's gone. There's a reason why teams are listening in on pitching. There's a reason why the Miami Marlins like, hey, we'll listen on guys. And a good friend of mine pointed out to me, the Marlins exactly. The Marlins kind of are always like, hey, we'll deal one of our arms, and then they never do it. So like I don't know if they might be the type of team where they just don't think they can find something on the market that equals the value of the pitcher they're giving up. And honestly, like I don't think that the New York Yankees are going to be the team that goes out and that's going to be the team that goes out and gets Jesus Luzardo. Like I don't think the Yankees have what it takes to outbid a certain other teams just because of the fact that I don't think the New York Yankees are going to be as aggressive to do it. I don't see an incentive to move Spencer Jones. I don't see an incentive to move Chase Hampton. I don't see an incentive to move Roderick Arias. I know this is an all-in year. I understand that, but I imagine the Yankees are confident in their ability to keep Juan Soto. I don't think their heart's going to break if Alex Verdugo plays through his first year with the Yankees, leaves in free agency, and doesn't win a ring here. I think what they're more concerned about is their ability to win World Series titles, not just this year, but in the future, and kind of maintain that financial flexibility to also get better at the deadline. With that being said, ain't nobody got a Chase Hampton account here now. We do have a Chase Hampton account here now. We do. JJ Giuliani goes, Imanaga is a home run derby pitcher. I think Imanaga is a good pitcher. I just don't think Imanaga is a great pitcher, and I don't think that Imanaga is the type of pitcher that profiles well for Yankee Stadium or the AL East for that matter. I mentioned San Francisco, but I think that that's like the perfect spot for him. If he ends up with the San Francisco Giants, I think he's going to be in a ballpark where he's not going to give up as many home runs. He's a fly ball guy. I don't think it necessarily means he's a home run machine. It just means that at certain ballparks he won't play very well, or he can have the opportunity to be very volatile in that regard. What's up, bro? Demon D, I hope you're having a good night. Ryan's a beast. Daniel Diaz, I appreciate it, my man. Do you trust Heyman on Snell? I trust Basan and Luzardo. Don't know if I believe Heyman. Remember the arson judge, the San Fran take? Heyman's tweets with a grain of salt. He might get it wrong sometimes. When it comes to Boris, I always take it with a grain of salt when it comes to a John Heyman report, just because, again, he kind of always inflates the market with that. Jack Curry shot down the idea of the Yankees had any interest in Cody Bellinger. And John Heyman was pretty consistent, like, hey, the Yankees are on Cody Bellinger. And they're not. Like, they just never really were. His market's falling, and they haven't shown value. They could have had an opportunity to sign him potentially on a lower-term deal, but they're not going to do that, nor should they, quite honestly. The qualifying offer affects your international free agent money. Roki Sasaki could be hitting the market soon. I just personally think the New York Yankees, it's an advantageous position for them if they go out and they avoid Cody Bellinger on the market. What's your thoughts on Arraez? So Roderick Arraez, I think, is a really good prospect. I think he has a chance to be a consensus top 50 prospect. He's extremely talented. He has really good power tools, really good speed tools. Hit tool can be a little questionable, but everything is pretty good for him. All of the raw skills, all the stuff that kind of determines your ceiling as a prospect is really good, and that's what's very encouraging for me. I don't think that the New York Yankees should look at Roderick Arraez as untouchable, but if they can avoid trading him, that would be great. He is a guy who hasn't played above rookie ball yet, so with a grain of salt. Next year, we'll get a very serious sample size to analyze him. And ultimately, I think that Roderick Arraez will end up being a pretty good player, but I don't view him as like a guy you have to plan around yet. I don't view him as a guy that you're looking at for the major leagues for the next 2 years at the very least. If I get traded to the Marlins, I'll be pissed. I don't think you're going to Miami, bud. Don't worry about it. Jones for Luzardo, cross him off the list. Yeah, I think Yankee fans should cross Luzardo off the list of realistic targets for the Yankees. Peraza plus Spencer Jones. I still don't even think that gets a deal done. I think the Marlins could ask and get more. And understandably so. He's a good pitcher. He's got 3 years of control, and pitching is there's a surplus. Like, there is an abundance of teams who want pitching, and there is a lack of good pitching. So there's that. Garrett Cole opt out and asked for a new contract. ERA was 3.50 last season. Do we trade? First off, he doesn't control if he opts out or not. If he opts out, the New York Yankees can counter his opt-out and avoid it with a 10th-year option. That is what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen. He's going to opt out. It's going to trigger the clause. The Yankees are going to opt into that 10th year, and that's what's going to happen. Don't even need to think about this. Oswald Peraza for Edward Cabrera. Get on the phone, Cashman. I would make that deal. I would certainly consider making that deal. I would think that that makes the Yankees better. And I think that that would make the Yankees a team that, has a higher floor in the rotation. I would still like to get a second starter, but maybe it can be a swingman. It doesn't have to be like a Jordan Montgomery type. But ultimately, like I do think that this is the type of pitcher that the Yankees should take a flyer on if they can at the rate of just have to deal Oswald Peraza, So there's that. You got that name right. If Luzardo was a realistic trade for the Yankees, if not Luzardo, what is a realistic trade for the Yankees? So the way I look at it is I believe that Jesus Luzardo is Jesus Luzardo is a really good pitcher. And the big thing here is got 3 years of control. If the Yankees if the Yankees have to look at the trade market, I think Shane Bieber is the type of guy that I think the Yankees could trade for. Now, Jeff Passan kind of, threw some cold water on the idea that he's that available. He said that the Cleveland Guardians are looking to contend for the division and he may not be traded. So, there is a little bit of concern that the Yankees may not have even an opportunity to make a deal for him. It looks like the Guardians are just looking to sell him off, which is what I believed they were going to do. But at the end of the day, I think that the New York Yankees are going to have to settle for free agency. I think that's where they're going to get the best bang for their buck in terms of, getting a top start at this point, because I don't know if the trade market's going to be as forgiving as I initially perceived it to be. And look, that's on me. Like I perceive it to be pretty forgiving, and it's not going to be. I'm just going to take a look at this black coffee here. But yeah, I don't know if the trade market's going to be an avenue for the Yankees. I think, you could go out and maybe just spend money on Jordan Montgomery. You also aren't going to trade draft picks, which is nice. Or it's not trade draft picks, excuse me. You're not going to lose draft picks because there's no qualifying offer attached, which is nice. And yeah, I think ultimately, Jesus Luzardo, really good pitcher. Don't think that's going to happen for the Yankees. If there was a realistic trade, I think Shane Bieber makes a lot of sense. Screw Luzardo. I'll be ready by June. I actually do want to talk about Chase Hampton being a potential fit in the rotation at some point this year. Chase Hampton's stuff is ridiculous. His 4-seam fastball generates about 18 inches of carry. It's a cut ride fastball, so it's around 1 to 2 inches of horizontal break. And you may think hey, wouldn't you rather him have more horizontal break? Not necessarily. You can there are instances where your horizontal break can be so much that it's equal to your vertical break, and that creates a dead zone fastball. Whereas cut ride fastballs, those pitches tend to play really well up in the zone. They're unique. You don't see a lot of them. And so Chase Hampton's fastball would certainly be a unique pitch. And I love unique pitches like that. I love a pitcher who has a pitch that isn't, similar to what we typically see. His release height is around where Spencer Strider's is. He's not saying he is the next Spencer Strider, but more so in the sense of, Strider releases from a lower slot. That helps his fastball play up. I think that'll help Hampton's fastball play up as well. In terms of the cutter, he has a pretty good cutter. His cutter gets pretty good horizontal break. It's a plus pitch, and he commands it really well. He developed that pitch with the Yankee organization. He also has a sweeper, a really good sweeper, like a plus sweeper. So, those 3 pitches alone carry his arsenal. He has a curveball. He has a changeup. He doesn't really use those last 2 pitches very much, but he can mix them in. Being a guy who has 3 reliable pitches makes him less likely to be subjected to third time through the order penalties. If you guys aren't aware, Fangraphs did a study a few years back. And it revealed that guys that rely on 2 pitches really, or quote unquote 2-pitch pitchers, have twice the third time through penalty that teams that pitchers like, Garrett Cole, who have multiple pitches in their arsenal, or, Merrill Kelly or Zach Gallen or, Zach Wheeler or Logan, guys of that caliber where, they have at least 3 really good, reliable pitches. Those guys tend to perform better late in games. Now, I understand that's probably common baseball sense, but there is a very stark difference. This isn't just a thing people say. So for that reason, I think Hampton's going to end up being a really good pitcher. And his stuff is good enough where, if you were to pitch in a major league game right now, he would definitely be able to compete. And that's with a limited sample size of success at AA. So that's why I'm really excited about what he could be. The only person I would withhold the deal for Luzardo is Arraez and Dominguez. Everyone else can be traded. A 26-year-old, this kind of stuff doesn't get traded often. Christian James, I would agree. I don't think there should be untouchables in the organization to the extent that that some people may, point out look, it should be Judge, Cole, Soto, those are untouchables. You don't trade those guys. But if the right deal came around, I'm willing to trade anybody. As barbaric as that sounds, if the right deal came around, that doesn't mean you're wheeling and dealing. That doesn't mean you're just throwing prospects around. But let's say there's a deal that has equal value for the Yankees. I'm going to end up sitting here and saying, yeah, you should do that deal. I know that sounds silly. I know that sounds like I'm kind of, fence sitting here, but I do think that the answer to most questions lies somewhere in the middle. And I would say that, kind of being selective with deals, but also not being like, I guess the word will be, but not being closed off to other deals is important. You don't want to close yourself off to making a deal that gets you good value. Like Jesus Luzardo would make you better, but at the same time, you don't want to pigeonhole yourself and put yourself in a position where you don't have another outfielder, you don't have any farm system, and you're paying a lot of guys. You have to rely on your finances to get you through, stretches of contention. You need to be able to develop young players and have cost control talent, and at the same time, you need to be able to spend a ton of money. So it's a balance of both. How about the fact that Aaron Judge comparisons are unrealistic? Jones at 20 home runs and over 600 at-bats with 175 Ks. Look, nobody's saying that, nobody's saying that, not nobody. I'm not saying that Spencer Jones is the next Aaron Judge. And I think that those type of comparisons are dangerous, and they're extremely dangerous. But I do believe that, the New York Yankees have a talent here. He's a great defensive player. Two different outlets, that being, Baseball Prospectus and MLB Pipeline, both view Spencer Jones as a better prospect than Jason Dominguez, and Fangraphs as well. That's a third publication. I don't think it's as bad of a take as I initially thought. Like originally, I was like, this doesn't really make much sense. But Spencer Jones is a great defensive center fielder. He is truly an excellent defensive center fielder. He is truly one of like those type of athletes where, and Alex, who I do the morning Fireside Yankees podcast with, by the way, if you guys haven't done so already, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share this channel, all that stuff. But he mentioned, Harrison Bader's speed and Aaron Judge's power. That's kind of the best way to put Spencer Jones. And those type of physical tools, you have to rate really high. You have to look at that and say, good God, this guy could be a really good player. Again, not saying he's the next Aaron Judge, but he does have freakish raw power, and he does have freakish athleticism. And those two things combined make him a really enticing prospect. And that's why the Yankees are going to be careful when it comes to, even entertaining the idea of trading him. What about Michael Lorenzen? David, I don't think Michael Lorenzen presents an upgrade over Will Warren, and so I would not sign him. That's my opinion on it, unless it's like a minor league deal. If it's a minor league deal, go ahead, but I'm not giving him a guaranteed roster spot. Jason Dominguez or Spencer Jones? I've seen a lot of comments on this. Jason Dominguez or Spencer Jones? Who would I rather have? And the answer to that question is, I'm not really sure. I'm not sure. Like, I think it's closer than I originally thought. I think it's closer than people think. I know that people don't like the fact that the New York Yankees are like saying, hey, we're not sure if we would trade, we're not sure if we would trade Spencer Jones. We're not sure if we would trade Jason Dominguez. Not that they've outright said it, but they've shown that in trade talks. But these two players are really good. Jones, I think, has a higher floor because of the fact that he's a really good defender. And being a really good defensive center fielder makes him a good enough player where even if he's not a great hitter, he's still going to be a valuable MLB player. If Dominguez doesn't hit, he's not a great player. Like, that's kind of the issue here. And so I would say Jason Dominguez's bat is a lot safer. I think he has an excellent hit tool. The raw power is great. The plate discipline is out of this world. Like, it's unbelievable. His plate discipline is truly elite. And I don't mean he doesn't just he's not passive. It's not that. It's that he's passive when it comes to pitches out of the zone, and he swings a ton in zone. And that is a mark of an elite hitter. And honestly, if he ever if he just gets healthy, if his elbow recovers, which I think it will, he's going to be a really good hitter. But I think Jones has the opportunity. All right, let's say he figures out the swing decisions a little bit, and he's able to hit, 30 home runs a year. He has a pretty good hit, like in terms of not hit tool in terms of contact, but hit tool in terms of getting, balls in ideal launch angles. If he's able to go out and, slash 270, 340, let's say 480, right? That's an 820 OPS and give you great defense and center with his stolen base potential. That's also another really good player. So that's where the conversation comes into play. It's how good of a defender Spencer Jones could be in center field versus how good of a hitter Jason Dominguez could be in his career. Those are the two questions you really have to ask here. And I think those are two things that if you prefer the defense that comes with Jones, go with Jones. If you could prefer, the young offensive upside with Dominguez, you go with Dominguez. That's really how I view it. Braves fans here, who would you want for Jason in a trade? From the Braves, like a pitcher, like I'd want like I'm not even saying Max Fried. Spencer Strider obviously is worth way more than Jason Dominguez. Like I would have to say, like, I want like, well, I mean, maybe a bat. Like, I don't, if you're saying like the Braves specifically, like, I don't know if we match up on the deal, because are the Braves going to trade like, Austin Riley for Jason Dominguez? That doesn't really make sense for the Braves. I think that's a little bit too much value to give up if you're the Braves. Are the Yankees going to trade him for Bryce Elder? No, that's not enough value for the Yankees. Jared Kelenich's obviously not going to be enough for Jason Dominguez. Michael Harris Jr. would be surplus value. Michael Harris Jr. is an excellent player, and he makes literally nothing. Like, the guy makes $9 million a year for the next decade. This dude is way more valuable. Matt Olson, more valuable. Albies, like, am I trading? Are the Braves trading Ozzy Albies? No, right? Like, we would not match up well on the deal. But if you're asking just in general, I would say that the Yankees should look for like if they could do Jason Dominguez for like a really controllable starting pitcher, sure. But it would have to be an established guy. Like, you're looking at like, hey, could you do Jason Dominguez or George Kirby? Which you can't. The Yankees would not be able to do that. But I would wait. I would not trade Jason Dominguez. I am against trading him because I think his value could either go up, not only in the trade market, but for your own team. Like, the guy could go out and put up a 125, 130 WRC plus and play a pretty okay left field for you and steal like 30 bases and be, one of the best outfielders in baseball. That's the type of player you shouldn't trade. That's the way I view it. And I think you should get the chance to prove that. I don't see the Orioles blowing up their farm for anyone, to be honest. I don't know. I think they kind of have to. But, like, is that a front office that believes that they have to do anything? Is that an ownership group that, believes that is highly motivated to compete, or is more highly motivated to save money? I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what that means. I'm not really sure what the Yankees are going to end up doing in terms of, like, not the Yankees. I'm not sure what the Orioles are going to end up doing. But yeah, like, I'm not really sure. Like, I would say that I would anticipate that they're aggressive, but obviously as a Yankee fan, I kind of hope they do nothing. I'm assuming no matter what starter we get this offseason, that the fifth starter spot in spring training, that Clark Schmidt will most likely win. I would say that the New York Yankees are not in a position to let Clark Schmidt be their fourth starter. He needs to be their fifth starter. They need to get a guy who slots ahead of him in the rotation. That's why I'm like, hey, I don't really care about signing Michael Lorenzen. Why would we do that? I want a guy who can slide and slot ahead of a guy like Clark Schmidt, because I need Clark Schmidt to be our fifth starter if he's going to be in the rotation, which I think he will be. So, that's how I view it. Like, I view that the New York Yankees are going to, I don't think the New York Yankees are going to try to go into 2024 with like, hey, here's Clark Schmidt, our three starter. Maybe he develops into one. I hope he does, but I don't see, I would have to agree. Like, I think hopefully, if they get a starter, it's going to have to be a guy who's better than Clark Schmidt. Arraez, Maya, Lelaine will be big prospects in the NY. Yeah, I think Lelaine might be like the best prospect in that group. Henry Lelaine is really good. His velocity is great. Great projectability because of an excellent frame. He's like 6'7". His velocity developed really well. He projects really well. Like, this is the type of guy that I think the New York Yankees are going to love. And I think that the New York Yankees should be very excited about an opportunity to get a player or to develop a pitcher who is left-handed, power stuff, homegrown, born in the Bronx, moved to DR, but was born in the Bronx. The type of guy that honestly I think like this could be like a dream kind of situation for the Yankees in terms of like perfect on and off field intangibles for that stuff. Pitching market is crazy this year. It is. Richard C. Trey Jones, this prospect hugging gives me Greg Bird vibes. I will say this: Greg Bird would have been a pretty good player had he never got hurt, right? And if he never got hurt, he would have been a pretty good hitter. He was pretty good in 2015. It does suck to say that, but also, and I wanted to follow this up with Chase Hampton's follow up here. Spencer Jones is a center fielder. Greg Bird's a first baseman. If Spencer Jones put up like a 100 WRC plus, he's a starting center fielder. Like, he's a starting center fielder on basically any team in baseball, because of how good his defense is and how good his base running is. Ultimately, I think that the New York Yankees, should look at Spencer Jones as a future center fielder. I believe that we shouldn't just write him off as like a guy who should be traded because he strikes out a lot. The bat is questionable, obviously, but the glove is so good, and the glove needs to be respected more. The Guardians are looking to win the division. The division sucks, and the Twins didn't really get better, and they might even get worse. So there's that. So, Ryan, MLB has Soto winning his first MVP next season. Could hitting in front of Aaron Judge really give him that opportunity? How does Judge benefit from having Soto? Going to take a swig of this coffee, and I'm going to answer that question. Sam, that's an excellent question. End of the day, I don't think that the New York Yankees are, going to see a 50, 60 home run season from like Juan Soto. He's not that type of hitter. Not that he's not good, but that's not his game style. That's not his game plan. That's not how he attacks at the plate. And I know that it can be disappointing for some people to hear, but this is where the good part comes in. Juan Soto's skill set is that he's the best OBP threat in baseball and also has 30 home run power. And ultimately, I really do think that Juan Soto should hit in front of Aaron Judge. I think that Juan Soto should be the number one hitter on the team. He should be leading off for the New York Yankees. And as crazy as that sounds, as like, I guess a hot take, I don't really know. I don't think it is. The guy's the best OBP in baseball. He should be leading off for us. If Soto leads off and is hitting in front of Judge, Juan Soto is going to get a lot of pitches to hit because no one's going to want to walk him to face Judge. And he is an excellent hitter. So it puts him in a position where he's going to be generating a lot. Like he's going to get a lot of pitches that he can do damage with. And then Aaron Judge may not get those opportunities, but Aaron Judge is a more aggressive hitter. And so I think Aaron Judge, he's used to hitting and having at this point a year and a half where pitchers haven't really pitched to him in terms of zone percentage. And I'm going to check this right now. We're going to go back to we're going to go since September of 2022. We'll go since the All-Star break of last year. So September, we'll say like July 15th. At some point, that was the All-Star break. We're going to go to plate discipline, and we're going to go to we're going to sort through for Aaron Judge. I'm pretty sure Aaron Judge has not seen a lot of pitches in zone. I could be wrong. Zone percentage. Aaron Judge has the 12th lowest zone percentage out of 116 hitters. They're not throwing him strikes, right? Being a hitter who doesn't see a lot of strikes, that's going to help him a ton. Like that's going to stay the case. He's not going to see a lot of pitches. He's excelled in that regard. Over that same time span, he's still been the best hitter in baseball. He's a 2.8 WRC plus. He's hit 68 home runs, slugging 685, 384 ISO, by far the best in baseball. It's like because of it, he's become more aggressive, 20% walk rate, 12.4. Like this is the type, like I just want people to understand Aaron Judge operates really well, even when he's not getting pitches to hit. Whereas I don't know how Juan Soto would react to not getting pitches to hit. Kind of going furthermore on that play discipline segment, and I'm going to look to find Juan Soto here. And I'll see if I can find him. He should be here somewhere. Okay, Juan Soto, 39.9%. That's 83rd out of 116 hitters. So he's seen less pitches to hit than usual. And over that time span, while he's been a really good hitter, he has a 150 WRC plus, the 8th best mark in baseball. He hasn't, it's like he's hit a ton of home runs, relative to what you would expect. It's like he's, slugging crazy. Either he's slugging 45 over that stretch. That is just the 23rd best mark. So, I think he could benefit from not only coming over to the Yankee Stadium, which is a little more, hitter friendly, but also from just having more pitches to hit, right? Like, it's not like he doesn't do damage when he puts the ball in play. When Juan Soto puts the ball in play, and I'm going to go on StatCast here, and I know I'm doing a lot of data digging here, but I think that the lineup is a very interesting situation for the Yankees. I think lineup construction is important. And I think that, having Judge hit behind Soto and Soto hit first is really important to me. So when you look at when Juan Soto puts the ball in play, he has a 446 xwOBA. That's elite. Like that's well above the major league average. If you just want to look at the damage he does if you just want to look at the wOBA, which is, what your wOBA is on batted balls only. We're going to sort major league hitters last year, 2023, stat. Going to go to wOBA if it's somewhere on here. It is here. I just got to go check off only batted balls, batted ball type, fly ball, pop up, line drive, ground ball. And we're going to go minimum. We're going to go with minimum plate appearances, 400. We're going to sort by wOBA too. So we're going to sort by wOBA, and I'm going to get you the number right now. All right. For 2023 hitters, Juan Soto was 11th in wOBA on contact. So when he put the ball in play, he was still the 11th best hitter in baseball. This isn't a guy who just needs walks to do damage, which I think is important here. Some guys who's ahead of, you have Corbin Carroll, you have Rafael Devers, you have Pete Alonso, you have Trey Turner. Didn't really have a great year, so I'm going to kind of remove him from that. You have Kyle Tucker, you have Ketel Marte. That's the type of hitter you're looking at, right? And that's the type of hitter you're saying, all right, yeah, this guy's great. If you change the sample size to 250 play appearances so that we can include guys like Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani obviously leads up. This does not include Aaron Judge still. We're going to go to 200 perhaps, maybe 150. But obviously Shohei Ohtani leads at 553 because Shohei Ohtani had an excellent year last year. Going to get Aaron Judge led actually 557. So, Juan Soto was in the territory with really good hitters in the league. And if you give him more pitches to hit, he'll be in a territory with even better hitters, right? So you want him to be in a position where he's getting pitches to hit, and that being Juan Soto. Aaron Judge already excels without pitches to hit, so I think that this is the type of guy. I think that's how the lineup could benefit. Juan Soto gets more pitches to hit, gets to do more damage on balls in play, gets to hit more home runs, gets to hit more doubles. Maybe he sees a lower OBP, but even then he's a selective hitter. He's a great selective hitter. And then you have Aaron Judge, who maybe still doesn't get a lot of pitches to hit, but, again, he's done damage with that already. So I just think it's the situation in which Juan Soto improves more and Aaron Judge doesn't change at all. I don't want a situation where, you got a leadoff hitter and then you have Soto second because Soto does hit a lot of ground balls. And I feel like that increases the amount of double plays and that can take you out of run scoring situations. You're going to have a lot of, 2 out, nobody on, Aaron Judge is up. And those are situations where you don't expect to score runs. And I think that's dangerous to put any hitter in. I think it's a better spot for Anthony Rizzo. Anthony Rizzo is a good, not great hitter, and it's okay if you waste an at-bat of Anthony Rizzo or play appearance of Anthony Rizzo, whereas you want to maximize run-scoring opportunities in any situation where you have Juan Soto or Aaron Judge. JJ Giuliani goes, bring up Chase Hampton, Will Warren, Clayton Beer, Spencer Jones. No more lopsided deals like the one we gave up for Renzo Juan Soto. But I'm not even going to we had to trade for Juan Soto. He's a great player. I'm happy about it. Any targets should Yankees be looking at? Sneaky signings or trades they can do? Mason Black. I think that the Yankees should trade Oswald Peraza to the Giants for Mason Black. I think it would be a great depth arm for the Yankees. I think he's young, only turned 24 this past December. Could be a really good pitcher for them. And yeah, I think he could be really good. I think he could be, I think he could be really good, and I think he can get better with the Yankees and with some, time to develop. As for signings, major league guys, Sean Manaea. I love Sean Manaea. I think the fit's great. Keenan Middleton, they should bring him back. I'm not a fan of Gio Urshela. I'm not against it. I'm just kind of whatever. So I'm not really going to throw him on there. But yeah, that's the answer to my question, Aiden. I compete. I hate to lose. It makes everything play up. Boom won't let me go past 6 anyways. He'll let you go past 6 at some point. At this point, I think the Yankees should just have Warren as their 5th starter and rely on the farm. There's a world where they should do it. I think that there are too many options in the market right now for them to just kind of sign themselves off to that. I think that should be their backup plan. That should be their backup plan. Is Spencer Jones a better prospect than Jason Dominguez? Again, I think it's kind of either or at this point. Jason Dominguez is a better player than Jones. Nobody's the next Aaron Judge. I agree that nobody's the next Aaron Judge. I'm playing the show 22 while listening to go, Ryan. Hey, I appreciate you, man. I'll be honest. I'm down to re-sign Keenan Middleton or Robert Stevenson. Either will be good, and both won't be an overpay like Josh Hader or Jordan Hicks. I don't believe that Jordan Hicks will be an overpay, but I do think Robert Stevenson will be better market value, and I do think Keenan Middleton will be excellent market value. So I do agree generally with his opinion. What do you think his average will be? Spencer Jones. He hit 270, I think, last year. And honestly, I think that's around where you can expect him to hit. And that's pretty good for a guy in his first year. And honestly, considering the fact he does strike out a lot, if he ever fixes the strikeout issues a little bit, he might even hit for a higher average. Dominguez is a bright lights, big-time performer. Those are rare. We have to see at the major league level for an extended sample size, for sure. I think unless you're getting a number 1 starter, the Yankees should stand pat and go with what they have until the number 1 is available. Jay Bornum, I can totally see that. I can totally see that as an opinion. It depends on what the market does. It depends on where the market is, Dominguez will be a star in LB. I agree. Damn, make it seem like Jones the white Ken Griffey Jr. I'm going to rave about him defensively because I think he's an excellent defensive player. And that's really where I'm at with him. I think he's an excellent defender. Could we ever trade for Luis Arraez? Now, Luis Arraez was a guy that I think John Morosi floated around for the Blue Jays to trade for. I'm going to Google this to make sure. I don't really think that he's going to get traded. He seems more likely to get extended there. They haven't had extension talks, and that he said he'd be available. I'm going to take another swig of this coffee. I think that the issue right now for Luis Arraez is just he's not a great defender anywhere. Maybe Yankees view him as a first baseman. I would have to view him as a first baseman, honestly. I don't think he's anything more defensively. Maybe he's you could actually, no, I'm going to take that back. You could live with him at second base. I can live with Glaber at second base. I can live with Arraez at second base. Even though OA really doesn't like him, out above average really hates him. I'll look at like I'll look at his whatchamacallit. I'll look at his fielding run value, but obviously a great hitter. Like, this is a phenomenal baseball player. Is he an elite baseball player? I don't think he's an MVP candidate, but he's a good player. Like, he's certainly a very good hitter. Obviously, like, the Yankees would be better with him. Yeah, he has terrible fielding run value, so I'm gonna have to say, I'm gonna have to say he's a second baseman, guys. I hate to break the news. First baseman. He's probably a first baseman. Yeah, not loving the defense. Speed has gotten worse, but again, like, this is a good hitter. He's a really good hitter. Does a lot well. Really aggressive in zone and out of zone. Which, it would be a bad thing if it wasn't for the fact that he can cover pitches on the outside part of the plate and the inside part of the plate. Excellent contact. Like, this is obviously, like, if you're a Yankee fan and you're like, close your eyes and you go, man, who would be a perfect fit for the New York Yankees offensively? Luis Arraez stands out as that guy. Or like, he's, he would have hit 13 home runs last year. He played at Yankee Stadium. He actually has like decent pull side power, which is cool. And he can spray the ball everywhere. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and downplay how sick it would be to have Luis Arraez like lead off for the New York Yankees. Honestly, I'd hit him you'd have him. You'd hit Judge second. I mean, I don't know if I'd hit him first because Soto has a better chance of getting on base and working the count. I think Luis Arraez would actually work perfectly as like a third hitter. I know that sounds strange, but like a guy who puts the ball in play right after Judge and Soto gets on is pretty good, and it's kind of exactly what you want. But this is an excellent, elite, really good hitter. Not really much more else to say other than this is a great hitter, but I'm not really sure if the Yankees are going to ever have a chance to get him unless they wait for free agency. Or maybe the Marlins are bad at the deadline and they trade him. If that happens, I'd be all in. Like, I would say, go out and, do what you can to get him, because he would make you better offensively, and you need to get better offensively. And, not need to, but like, you could always use a guy like him in your lineup. And honestly, like, he would just be sick. I think every Yankee fan here would be on board with Luis Arraez. Maybe you guys disagree. Let me know in the comment section. But yeah, like, he would obviously be a huge upgrade for the offense, but I don't think it's going to happen. Give us Austin Riley. They're not giving you Austin Riley for Jason Dominguez. Jones has a hole in the swing. LB heat in the upper part of the zone is a problem for Jones. He has a hole in the swing. He's not a perfect hitter. He's far from it, but it's the glove. That's why I love the floor of the player here. Is it bad that I don't really consider Jason Dominguez a prospect anymore? If he didn't need that surgery, he wouldn't be heading to the minor leagues going to 2024. That's fair, but he also is still like he hasn't graduated officially, and that's kind of how, like, that's why I view him as a prospect yet. Still, he's played 8 games. Like, Oswald Peraza was a prospect entering the year last year, and he played more than Jason Dominguez did. So that's kind of the context here. Arraez going nowhere. Agree. Yankees chance. Jesus Luzardo trade for Spencer Jones. Not Dominguez. I think that the Orioles could offer more. Orioles should, but they won't. That's fair. Arraez is a shockingly clutch hitter. We need his type of pure hitters. I don't know if we need just a Luis Arraez, but he would just be a nice addition. They need a third baseman, a first baseman, a closer. Don't you agree? They need a third baseman, and they need pitching help. They need starting pitching. Honestly, any pitching. They need pitching and a third baseman, but they're not going to get a third baseman. LeMahieu's like average, and they'll live with that. They just need pitching. They need to focus on pitching. If they find a third base option that becomes available, be opportunistic. But yeah, Spencer, Glaber, plus others for Arraez, Luzardo. I think it's going to take more. Like, that's a huge package to get. That's a huge return. I think that the Yankees would have to trade, like, we're talking Dominguez and Jones. Yankees need a legitimate, no doubt about it, number 2 starter. They won't compete this year with that one. Look, there's a chance that, like, a guy like Carlos Rodon becomes that. But yeah, like, I think he could become that type of guy. It's just a question of whether he'll be healthy enough to do so. So yeah. Watson's a lifelong Yankee fan. Love to see him in New York in the bullpen at some point. Yeah, Danny Watson's great. Danny Watson led all pitchers, minimum 60 innings pitched in ERA. So, yeah. Without trading, but if we sign a free agent starter who isn't Snell or Monty, who would you want? I guess Manaea. He counts as that, right? We should have signed that Korean outfielder Jung Lee, a Luis Arraez type of singles hitter. He signed for a $113 million contract. And yeah, so look, I'm not saying that the New York Yankees shouldn't have. I like Jung-Hoo Lee, but not $100 million for sure. Like, I think that's a better fit for the Giants. They should take that flyer. I'm fine with Alex Verdugo and Juan Soto. If Soto and Judge bat first, second, and walking them both low, good luck with that. If you put a runner on first and second and nobody out, I mean, you can look, the Yankees offense was bad last year, but you can kind of, even Rizzo and Glaber are going to drive those runners in. Like they would drive those runners in pretty consistently. Having your two best hitters at 1 and 2 shortens the lineup, makes them easier to navigate. Yeah, but it also means you see them more than anybody else. Nobody needs to see DJ LeMahieu more than Juan Soto and Aaron Judge. We need Juan Soto and Aaron Judge to see the batter's box as many times as possible. And again, you have to maximize your run scoring opportunities with those two. The reason the Yankees got guys like Verdugo were to deepen their lineup. They can now do Rizzo, Glaber, Verdugo, Stanton, Wells, LeMahieu, Volpe. And that's deep enough for me. Like, that's enough that somebody in there is going to get hot and hit. Judge's zone is huge. I actually never pitched to him. Yeah, but he's so smart and he figures it out. Soto 2, Judge 3, Rizzo 4. Who's leading off for you? Like, if it's LeMahieu, you've got a double play right there. Like, Soto's going to double play with DJ LeMahieu all the time. Like, they're both slow and they both put the ball on the ground a lot. So that's why I'm not really like, hey, I would love to see these two together. So yeah. Gleyber Torres and Anthony Volpe for our leadoff hitter. Volpe had a sub 300 OBP last year. He's got to prove himself with the bat. Love Volpe. Think he's going to be a pretty good player, but he's got to prove himself with the bat before I'm going to sit here and call him a leadoff hitter for sure. Like that's my MO. He's got to prove it first. Gleyber I could see, but I would love lineup. I think he's best. He's like the excellent swing decision maker that he already is. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Against the ratings, Verdugo, Judge, Soto, Rizzo. Against righties, Verdugo, Judge, Soto, Rizzo. Against lefties, LeMahieu, Soto, Judge, Torres. That I can live with that, but again, I want Soto to hit as many times as possible. Dominguez 1, Soto 2, Judge 3 would be insane. Now that I can get behind. I can definitely get behind that. Soto said he hated hitting second. He likes to hit third. Probably best to keep him happy. Just ask him to hit first. Like, look, I'm not saying that you want to make your star unhappy, but like, you've got to at least ask him. What do you think of Skinny Don Carlo? Hopefully he's a better athlete. Not better athlete. That's so disrespectful because he's he's in better shape than I'll ever be, and he can hit the baseball 120 miles an hour. He's objectively a good athlete. But I hope he has more mobility. I hope that he's able to get less hurt. He's able to stay healthier, make the mechanical changes needed to get better next year. That's what I'll say, because I think better athletes disrespectful. That was a disrespectful way for me to put it, and I apologize. Volpe's a strikeout machine, batting below 200. Glaber's a better option, but somebody who's getting traded. Why else do we want Gio Urshela back for? Yeah, I think we're gonna see Oswald Peraza leave for greener pastures and for more playing opportunities. At least that's my read on it. That's how I view it. I think a suggestion for Warren is a good one, but Gil and Gomez are on options, so the Yankees will keep them instead of Manaea and Hicks. I would like to see them sign Luke Weaver. They're not. So here's the thing: the Yankees, I think, actually have another option on Gil and another option on Gomez. At least what I think somebody found like a fourth option for Gomez. I could be wrong. I'm gonna go to Yoendrys Gomez. He doesn't have any on Fangraphs, but I'm pretty sure Gil does. Let's see, Luis Gil. Like, I'm pretty sure Luis Gil does. Yes, he still has a minor league option. Yoendrys Gomez. Let me see if I can find. I know that the clacking is so hard to hear. I apologize. But I'm just trying to options. So I'm not sure if from my understanding, I thought they found the fourth option for him. But I guess they don't have a fourth option for him. And so, yeah, like, I don't know. I thought they had one. Guess not. But Gomez, I mean, even then, like, even if they just have Gomez in the bullpen, if they sign a starter, they could still sign a reliever, like, still have some extra room there. So, yeah, I think they'd still add a pitcher. And then as for Luke Weaver, if he gets a minor league deal, yes, but not a major league deal, because a major league deal guarantees him a major league spot on the roster. And I don't think you can guarantee him that. For whatever it's worth, it's been proven that the number 3 hole batter has less plate appearances with less runners on base or less runs in the scoring position. Yeah, that's why I don't want him hitting third. I don't want Soto or Judge hitting third. That's why I do not want it at all. Steve's right. Hitting Judge second in front of Soto helps Judge get better pitches to hit. Yeah, but again, it's like what Trevor talked about. Third hitters don't really get opportunities to hit in key situations. I think if Volpe is what he did in 23, he hits 9. I personally think Volpe drives pitches nuts. I would put 1 at 1 and call it a day. Yeah, I think Volpe would be able to be a great 9 hitter because, he's young. He's got the ability to get better. If he becomes really good, you've got a deep lineup. Ryan, who would you go for Luzardo? I say Gleyber, Peraza, and Cabrera. It's going to take more than that. I would say it's got to be like Jones, Hampton, Arraez, something like that. Dominguez lead off when he returns. Again, I'm fine with that. I can live with that because he's got great plate discipline. But again, I'm just not a fan of like the idea of Soto or Judge hitting third. With the young talent in the outfield like Soto, Dominguez, Verdugo, Jones, should the Yankees be getting Judge to start learning your first base and transition to the infield in 2 to 3 years like Harper/Betts to lower injury risk? I'm not really sure. Right field's pretty safe. It's always been pretty safe for him. I think the Yankees want to put him back in right field eventually. I think the Yankees will put him back in right field eventually. And yeah, like I'm not going to start the Aaron Judge at first base conversations when I don't think they're necessary. Soto will be the greatest mentor in history for Dominguez. I agree. It's a good idea if he learns all his first base secrets from his BFF Rizzo. I don't really see it with Judge at first. Dominguez actually smiles when he's at the plate. It's cold as fuck. Yeah, it is. He's cool. He's sick. I view Jones as a backup plan for Soto if Soto walks. I think there's a real chance if Stanton doesn't play well, it's Dominguez, Jones, Judge from left, center to right, and then Soto at DH if they were to keep Soto long term, whether it's re-signing or extending him. Dominguez showed out in every big moment he had: Futures game, AA playoffs, spring training, AAA promotion, MLB promotion. I'm not saying he doesn't have the makeup for it. He's a cocky bastard, and I love it. Like people don't like arrogant. Like Randy Miller was always like, he's an arrogant, like he's cocky, he's arrogant. I love that. Like good players should be like, good players are cocky, good players are arrogant. If you're good at something and you don't believe, like if you don't believe that you're really good at something, you're probably not going to perform very well. It's this concept of like the psychology of sports and all that, but in anything you do, like full transparency here, I'm a very humble guy publicly. Like I would say I don't like act like a dickhead about what I do. But it's just me, my laptop, my computer, my room, a video's being edited, an article's being worked on. I think I'm the fucking guy. Like I think I'm the best at my job because I have to think that way. If I don't think I'm really good at what I do, I'm not going to perform very well. If you don't think you're really good at something, and this is good life advice, I feel like, if you don't think you're really good at something you're doing, you should either A, convince yourself of that. I don't know how you would do it, but convince yourself of that. Remind yourself, kind of focus on the positives, not saying you ignore the criticisms, but you kind of reflect on what you've accomplished, or B, you do something else. If you don't think you're good at something, you're doing it, and you're trying to get better at it, it's an oxymoron. You're not going to get better. It's not going to happen. So, I think Jason Dominguez's confidence is certainly a tool that it is part of what makes for a really good makeup and a really good character and a player that should have his skill set translate. It doesn't really matter, but since we're talking about it, Luis Arraez is definitely better at first base. I agree. Baseball Bullet was good, y'all. What's good? I hope you're doing well, my man. I like to keep Jones, trade for Bieber, sign another reliever, and see how it plays out, adjust to the deadline. I would love this, but I don't know if the Guardians will trade Bieber at this point. Gomez, I would love in the bullpen in the King or Breeder role. I agree. He's got nasty stuff. Good 4-seam fastball, low slot release, cut ride fastball, good cutter, great curveball, working changeup. He's got everything you need. He's got everything a pitcher needs. He's got the type of pitch mix that should work well in a rotation. I think he could kind of develop in the King way where work starts as a reliever, multi-inning guy. Yankees identify some really nasty stuff and say, all right, this is the type of pitcher who can maybe translate to the rotation and see if that works. But we'll have to wait and see. Let's see. Can't trade Jones unless Soto resigns. I think you could keep both. Like I'm of the opinion that you could have both. That's just my humble opinion. What do you think about BR saying the Yankees get Burns for Pereira, Cabrera, and Hampton? They probably have to give up a little bit more, but that's like the framework of a deal. Like the issue is that the Brewers are really loaded in their outfield. I would assume they'd rather Yankees don't really have they don't have the equivalent of a Everson Pereira in their Everson Pereira. I guess Oswald Peralta is close enough, but they don't have the equivalent of like a Spencer Jones in their infield. Roderick Arias is still pretty raw, and I wouldn't trade him. I would say that they have enough to trade for Corbin Burns if they wanted to, but I don't think the Brewers are going to be mightily motivated to do it right now because the insane prices about signing Pritching. What about going with an opener, supercharged bullpen? I think you go Will Warren as your fifth starter, kind of have him go 4 or 5 innings and then stretch him out as he gets better. And then you go to, again, like you want to supercharge your bullpen. You got to do one of the two. You got to make an addition to your rotation that's meaningful, or you got to go out and get a really good reliever, or you can do both. I think you can go out and get Robert Stevenson and, sign, maybe not sign with Jordan Montgomery, but like trade for Shane Bieber. I think that's totally possible. I could totally see that. And I would love to see it. And yeah, like I think the Yankees definitely have the trade capital and the financial capital to do multiple different things in this winter. With that being said, do I like the Verdugo trade? Yes and no. Yes, because I think he's kind of the type of player that the New York Yankees should be looking for. And at the same time, I don't love the inconsistency. I don't love the off-field kind of distractions. There was some stuff in Los Angeles that wasn't good. With the Red Sox, he got benched a few times. So it's a yes and a no. It's certainly a gamble, and the Yankees have to be sure that this is the right gamble to take. Because if they're wrong, I think Richard Fitz can end up being a pretty solid starter, and I don't think it's going to look very good for them. So, I think it's a good gamble to take. I think it's the right type of gamble to take, but, again, like you have to be right about it. Like the Yankees are going to have to be right about it. Tell you that New York Yankees fans are saying we need a real number 2 starter after people were calling Nestor Cortez the real ace of the Yankees, and then in 2022 said Rodon is an ace. I think they have 2 guys with, ace caliber, or I'm going to say number 2 caliber upside because I'm not going to call Cortez ace caliber upside. But I think that they have certainly, 2 guys who can be frontline starters. And, I want them to add more rotation stability. I'm not necessarily looking for upside. I'm looking for stability. Montgomery doesn't have ace upside. Not saying he's not a good pitcher, but he's not going to win the Cy Young next year. Carlos Rodon, legitimately could have won the Cy Young last year. There were really good Cy Young odds for him. He was projected to be a top 5 pitcher in baseball for a reason. There isn't that same upside with Jordan Montgomery. He doesn't swing, gets as many swings and misses. He doesn't miss as many bats. He doesn't throw as hard. He doesn't have, the dominant 4-seam fastball. But he is a consistently good pitcher. He'll never finish in the top 5 and wins a replacement. But over a 3-year stretch, he'll be somewhere in that top 20, somewhere in that top 5, or not in that top 15, somewhere maybe even that top 10, definitely on the top 5. Talked about this already. Who do you trade? Not sure who exactly we're talking about. Is there any way we can get Jesus Luzardo without giving up Spencer Jones? Yeah, you would trade Jason Dominguez. That's it. Doesn't it make sense to have an on-base machine bat after your home run hitter? Soto should always bat above Jones. Judge, I agree. By the way, I love Nestor and I like a healthy Rodon, which he didn't have in 2023, but people were stupidly disrespecting Garrett Cole going into the 2023 season. Yeah, I agree. Garrett Cole, stability is underrated. Stability is overlooked and underrated, and yeah, that's how I see it. You need to have stability in your rotation, and it's so important to building a really good staff and a really strong staff that gets through an entire season. Depth, all those things, it's just important. It's important. Watch a cage session for G. I love that he squared up his stance to the pitcher so free and easy and quick. Look, Giancarlo Stanton has the greatest raw power tool I've ever seen in my lifetime. And so I'm going to sit here and just be honest with you guys. This is the type of player that's going to be, if Giancarlo Stanton hits 250 next year, the Yankees are going to be very happy with what he gives them offensively. Who do you trade for Luzardo? I say Gleyber, Peraza, and Peralta, but maybe an arm. It would take so much more than this. I'm just going to be honest with you. Gleyber, the thing with the Marlins and the Gleyber interest is not that they don't need Gleyber Torres, and not that they wouldn't get better with Gleyber Torres. But my question more so is, why would the Miami Marlins pay, trades controllable talent for Gleyber Torres, knowing that they're probably not going to, they're probably not going to go out and extend Gleyber. It's not going to happen. It's just not they don't have the finances for it. So yeah. Supposedly Jones is working out with Judge's hitting coach and closing holes in his swing. I think it's the right type of guy to work with. I don't look, Judge's hitting coach is very arrogant on Twitter. And so I think he's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way. And understandably so. He's just, he is an arrogant guy sometimes. I'm not going to lie, but he clearly has the framework of success with guys like Judge and Kerry Carpenter. I think he's the type of guy that works really well, potentially with taller players like Jones, and maybe can help cover those holes. And if Jones comes out swinging next year and looks really good, that would rock. So, we'll see on that front. Can't trade Spencer Jones, Chase Hampton, or Warren. You're not going to end up with a top-of-the-line rotation guy, probably then. I'm going to be honest. If Stan squared up his stance, that's good news. I agree. Trade for Edward Cabrera, cast a spell on the Phillies to be bad, and then trade Zach Wheeler to the Yankees at the 2024 deadline for some bum prospect. Obviously, I would love Zach Wheeler in New York. Don't think it's happening. And I think that the Phillies are going to be good next year. So, yeah. I think a better bet would be the Brewers not being good enough, or, I'm not really sure who else. But, the Brewers probably not being good enough is a safer bet, or the Guardians not being good enough, and Shane Bieber having a bounce back here. Because also Shane Bieber's 28. You could probably, sign him for a pretty decent chunk of, a pretty solid value, and yeah. Trade Glaber, sign Anderson on a prove-it deal and bat him lead off. David, no, not leading off Tim Anderson. There is like, if you want to make your offense better next year, you're not doing this. Ryan Def Poles, no, Richard. Cocky is confident if you back it up. I agree. I didn't think Jason Dominguez was cocky or arrogant. I think Randy Miller just wants to write. Yeah, no, I'm not calling him an arrogant player. I'm just saying cockiness is important. You need to be confident. People oftentimes think being underconfident is better than being overconfident. I disagree. They're both bad for the same reason. Too much or too little of anything is bad. And I would rather my players lean too much on the confidence side than too little on the confidence side, because there is a track record of psychological success in baseball and sports, and overconfidence plays better than underconfidence, right? Not saying nice guys don't play well, and I'm certainly not I'm not this tough dude, this suave, smooth guy, but confidence works. Like, I would say my lack of confidence in baseball maybe caused me to underperform. And I think that Jason Dominguez, I think that Randy Miller trying to use that as a ding on him is crazy to me. Dominguez has a smile on his face constantly. Yeah, always. You're a smart guy. Don't forget us when you're working for ESPN or for the Yankees front office. Well, I'm going to be here. So I'm going to be in Fireside Yankees. So as long as you're here, I won't forget. We should keep both, but I don't see the Yankees eating $75 million plus of Stanton. That's fair. That's so fair. That's fair. I don't see that happening either. But we'll see. I think they could, but we'll see. By the way, did some research on Shane Bieber's injury history the other day, and I think it said that Bieber had elbow inflammation. Yeah, and that's scary, but so did Carlos Rodon, and he doesn't have elbow issues right now, so we'll see. If Dick fits in Boston, it will hurt a bit. This is a good play on words. So, I think Richard Fitz is a good pitching prospect. I'm sad to see him go. So yeah, it sucks. But, I think if they can work their magic with Verdugo, I think he'll also be a good player here. I think Verdugo with a chip on his shoulder and a contract year makes him a dangerous weapon. He's going to crush it. Trust me, a punk with a chip on and talent, a gangsta. I think Alex Verdugo does kind of have the mental makeup for the type of guy who performs well in the contract year, and the type of guy who reacts to getting traded to a rival by the Red Sox, and he takes it pretty well. If he kills the Red Sox, he's going to be a fan favorite. So there's that. But yeah, I can see it. Healthy 250, Don calls the dark horse MVP candidate. Yeah, if he's hitting 250, you increase his OBP by 60 points. You increase the slugging percentage. That's a 125, 130 WRC plus. That's a really good hitter. Hopefully Andrew Willie doesn't do much with Boston's pitching and MLB and pitching development. I hate to tell good people bad news. Giancarlo Stanton's best value to the Yankees would be if you were on a different team. Harsh, but at this point right now, yeah. Stability and the ability to play in New York, priceless, pay that man his money, Russian guy in rounders. I don't know what you're talking about, but if that's Verdugo, they're not paying Verdugo. Sign Tim Anderson, yeah, it's laughable. Detroit collapses, they will trade everybody and start all over. Yeah, maybe, we'll see. Ron Duffy says, hi, down goes Anderson. I want Tim Anderson and Josh on the same team next year. I agree, that'd be funny as fuck. How does Spencer Jones have a spot on this team unless we aren't planning to sign Soto? What I've heard from him is people saying move him to first base, but that doesn't make sense considering his defense and athleticism in center field is such a huge part of his value. Makes me wonder if the best move would be to just trade him if we can get a good enough player that fills our needs. I think you wait. You should wait. You shouldn't just force up to trade him now. You have an entire deadline that you can make trades on. And if, let's say, I'm going to just float this out there. Let's say the Miami Marlins are bad, right? And, Luzardo's still available, and he's in the middle of a Cy Young caliber year, and you could trade Spencer Jones for 2.5 years of him. You make that deal, right? Let's say Mitch Keller is available, right? And he breaks out, and he has a Cy Young year. You can trade for a year and a half of him. You got to think about it. Say the Mariners are dog shit, right? And they're like, hey, we need bats. And you got a guy like Spencer Jones breaking out. If he breaks out as a prospect that has an even bigger year, and you've got a pitcher like Logan Gilbert on the market, that's the type of guy that I think would love New York, or would be loved in New York, even a George, like a type of guy like that. We'll have to wait and see, but I just don't think that the New York Yankees should trade their chip now if they're going to. Tim Anderson is the Guardians' second shortstop. Josh Donaldson is the Guardians' third baseman. Jose Ramirez is the second baseman. Fuck it, we'll see, man. This would be pretty funny. This would be hilarious. This would be an all-time. This would be a blunt rotation lineup, honestly. This would be one of the funniest fucking lineups in baseball. Don't forget that Jose Ramirez did play some second base in 2017, 2018, especially in the playoffs. I do remember that. I was talking about Jordan Montgomery. I would love Jordan Montgomery back at the right deal He provides stability 100%. And that, yeah, like the ability to provide stability, bars, makes him a really valuable pitcher. And it makes him the type of guy that I think that the New York Yankees would the type of guy the New York Yankees would love and would stabilize a rotation in the middle of a guy like Carlos Rodon, guy like Nestor Cortez. Now, do I love having 3 lefties in my rotation? No, but maybe the Yankees, swing a deal. Maybe Cortez isn't on the team after the deadline. Who knows? But, or you know what? Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe the Yankees are just so good that it doesn't matter. Trevor, that would be a great clubhouse in regards to, that would be a hilarious clubhouse. I'm interested in I'm not interested in a one and done World Series like 2009. I agree. I would love to build something sustainable that wins a title this year and a long time. Obviously, you can't have both. Sometimes, you have to sacrifice, long-term viability for right now impact, but the Yankees are a smart team. They've developed young talent really well. They've put together a really good farm system despite not being bad over the last few years while competing, and the Yankees are definitely capable of continuing to do that. Bruno Odor and Jose and Bautista to that squad. That'd be so fucking funny. Of their fathers and sons. Yeah. I don't think trading Jones now is a good plan given what's available to trade, but I think trading him eventually might be the move given the Soto, Jason Judge outfield long-term. The thing for me is Jason Dominguez good enough to be a center fielder defensively, considering that Juan Soto is a bad defensive left fielder. I don't think so. Like, the Yankees are not playing Juan Soto in left field right now, and I think that's on purpose. I don't think they like Juan Soto in left field. I don't think they want him to ever play there. Or not ever play there, but I don't think they want to rely on him there defensively. And look, maybe the Yankees are able to figure out a way to make it work, but we'll see. Maybe, the Yankees can figure out some of his route running issues, but I think he's just better in right field. And he's more suited for like a right field DH kind of situation. And who knows? Like, we also don't know what Stanton's going to be. I think the Yankees would kind of have to eat that money if it came down to it, because would you rather play Giancarlo Stanton to hurt your team or pay Giancarlo Stanton to go away and have an opportunity to make your team better by having Spencer Jones slot in there? Those are questions you have to ask yourself. So, ultimately, I don't think it's out of the picture for the Yankees to try and deal or try and get rid of Stanton and just cut the costs and just DFA him or something if he doesn't play well enough. Now, if he does play well enough, we can revisit the conversation, but I'm not sold on doing anything, on having any set plan for any of these guys. I'm not set on, Jason Dominguez being a center fielder defensively. Like, I'm not going to lie. I'm just not set on it at all. So there's that. With that being said, move Juan to first base. That's something I've always also thought about. Would Juan Soto make sense at first base? I would say yes, but I don't really know. I don't know. Like, I don't know if that would make sense. I guess you'd have to ask him, hey, do you want to play first base? But if you could do that, that would be sick. Opens up the DH spot. Like, that would obviously rock. But his thing is he has a great arm. Juan Soto's like 6'3". Let's see. How tall is Anthony Rizzo? He's also not like the most athletic, rangy person in the world. So, like, I do wonder how his body would hold up to like diving everywhere. And he's never really, I don't know if he's ever played first base in his life. I know Bryce Harper hadn't either. Bryce Harper is also a quicker, more agile player. Anthony Rizzo also is very fast. So I guess, is it like, I guess I'm nitpicking here, but I do definitely think about like, hey, would that really actually work? I'm not going to like assume it would. Isn't it funny that Darvish thought the Padres would pursue Ohtani Yamamoto, then ended up signing a Korean pitcher? It's objectively kind of funny. But at the end of the day, like, I don't think that they were ever going to get those two guys. So not really sure why, I'm not really sure why they thought they were going to get that. Why Darvish thought they were going to get Ohtani or Yamamoto. Like, I never really saw that as feasible. But hey, that's not my business. After watching IKF in center field, I don't want to hear about Dominguez. That's fair, but at least IKF does round good routes. He's just like not good routes. He has like good range. He's not a very particularly skilled outfield defender in terms of like experience, and he has a pretty good arm. Now, I'm not saying Dominguez can't be good, but I'm just saying, like, defensively, I think I could go with Jones in center, and I can, again, like, it just depends on what happens. It just depends on what happens. Like, there's a lot that we're going to figure out this year about this outfield. And, I don't really know if, Juan Soto is the best defensive fit in left, and if you have Soto and Dominguez in left and center, you really have a bad outfield defense situation. Can the Yankees hold on to Rizzo until Ben Rice is ready, or will Ben Rice be traded? Look, Ben Rice still needs to go to AAA, so I would say that he's got time to work on his swing, and Rizzo's got time to figure out, the Yankees have time to figure out what Rizzo's going to be. So I'm not concerned here. I think that they'll be fine. I think that they'll be more than fine on that front, they being the New York Yankees and at first base. As great as Bernie Williams was, love him. The Yankees let Bernie play in center field in his late 30s. Different era Bell now, but I could see them keeping Soto in the outfield. Yeah, I agree, but in right field, it just makes so much more sense to do it in right field. So, yeah, there's that. Like, that's just the way I view it. But maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. But with that being said, we have crossed the hour threshold. We're probably going to wrap the show up here. I appreciate you guys stopping by. I'm sorry for the later start. Was just handling some stuff with like videos, and also like I wanted to test out and see if the 8 o'clock start would work. I think I'm gonna just go back to 7 o'clock starts, but yeah, like we'll wait and see. Yankees have a team option in Rizzo in 2025. Yeah, for sure. They do. They definitely have that, and that'll allow them to have some security to know that if Rizzo's good, they can keep him, and if he's bad, they can get rid of him. But yeah, like get your final questions in now. So yeah, like get your final questions in now, and we'll answer them, and then we'll wrap up. Soto already has negative OA in the outfield, and Soto's in his 20s. Soto is serviceable in the outfield, but still, I think Juan Soto has a great arm, and that's going to help him play right field, and he's not going to have to rely on range as much. And if you look at like defensive runs saved, he's also negative, so that doesn't help. His arm strength is good. I think he'll play fine in right field. The range is bad. It's really bad. We'll wait and see. Like he definitely isn't going to be the type of guy you project to be a good defender, but hopefully he could be like passable. That's kind of the goal here. Can he be passable? Great show, crushing. I appreciate you, Dr. Itzkins. Good stuff, man. I appreciate you, Richard, as well. You guys know where to check us out on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, and of course this YouTube page. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. We are trying to grow at a rapid pace, which we did in December, and we're looking to continue that momentum. So, I know things are slow right now, but we're going to be doing daily lives. We got daily double uploads, all that stuff. We appreciate you guys stopping by, and yeah. I'm going to answer this final question. Would you be mad if Rice is the part of a package to Miami, to the Marlins? Depends on like the player you're getting back. I think I'd be fine trading him for, Luzardo or Garrett or, any of those type of pitchers. Not sure if I'd do a 1-for-1 Rice for Cabrera. That's fine too. Can't have it all. No team does. Agree. But yeah, so we'll see you guys in the next one. Again, probably do it tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Not probably, definitely tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Yeah, thank you guys so much for stopping by, and we'll see you guys tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Don't be late. I'll probably be late. Peace out.